Hi, welcome to Women Talk Construction Podcast. I'm here with Angela Gardner today, my co-host. Hi, Angela.
Hello. Hello,
We
Christy.
Hi. We are going to talk about the second part of NCCER's report. We made it through the first four topics, which were, and the report is in her own words, a call to action from the field. The first four topics were treat women equally, accommodate mothers, eliminate discrimination and sexual harassment, and ensure consistent hiring practice. So today we're going to cover the last three of this report, which we really appreciate NCCER putting together, which is offering training opportunities, increasing the number of women in the field in leadership positions, and improving job site experience. So really excited to finish up this report and just let you know what we think about it. So you don't have to read it, you can listen to it. So we really hope that this is valuable to you. And this really does apply to men and women. We talked about that on the last podcast. So let's dive in.
Yeah. And so the first one today that we're going to talk about is offer training opportunities. And we actually talked about this a lot on the last one, was just the training, right? It's so important in any area, in anything that you do, whether it be just whatever in our world. But so the first bullet point is provide mentoring and sponsorship for career development. I mean, we just released an episode today. And this is, let's see, August the 5th, about mentorship and sponsorship and just advocating for others. It's so important. And
Allyship.
And actually that's one of the words I have written down here. Allyship for Christi and I, just it means the world, and it can change the world. So it can help us get it built. Based on our their data, women come to construction because of the higher pay, but stay because the opportunities to continue to learn new skills and advance their careers. So then you might attract them, but you got to retain them. And the only way to do that is to, train them and give them some new skills and advance them, right? So, and then the next one is encourage, incentivize, and promote craft training and multi-skilling. Many of the tradeswomen shared how much they value the craft training opportunities offered by the companies they work for, the desire to pursue additional training, and the loyalty they feel towards these companies. I mean, I talk about it all the time. I mean, if I'm going to be loyal to anyone to the day, I mean, it just because if they are that to me and they respect me and all that, then they're just going to get the best of me. And that's usually, I think, typically with everyone, right, Christy?
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I think one of the things too that I'd like to mention about the data about the higher pay and staying, I definitely was that person, right? I liked it because the higher pay. I liked it because I was a single mom and I didn't have to work three jobs anymore. Most of you have heard my story that listen, but it says they want opportunities to continue to learn new skills and advance their career. Totally agree with that, 100%. But on the other side of it, don't be quiet. Speak up. If you want to learn,
ask for it if you want to learn
if you want to learn,
Yeah.
say so, right? Like
Yes.
tell the right people. Don't tell your coworker, tell your boss. And sometimes that's hard, but honestly, they really admire you for coming to them and saying, I want to do this. I'd like to learn more about that. And really and truthfully, in construction, there is no ceiling as to how much you can learn. And so that's one of the things I love about the industry is if I want to learn something else, I can choose to learn it on my own time, or I can go to my leaders and say, hey, I want to learn more about this. I want to be more part of this kind of education. And 9 times out of 10, leaders are not going to say no. There's a few out there that are going to say no or ignore you. But you find the right people, HR, just let them know that you're interested in growing. I think that's the most important thing that you can do because a lot of people are comfortable standing still. They don't know that you want to grow. right? Unless you speak up for yourself.
Yeah. If you don't have your typical performance appraisal yearly and stuff where you get feedback, I mean, you're not
Right.
always, yeah. I love that point, Christy.
Yeah. And the loyalty, I mean, we're seeing men and women, I'm always throwing the men in there because it's important. I feel like they just don't talk as much about it right now as we do. But they really care about that, right? And they are very loyal to their companies, and they
Yes.
have been for decades before we
Yeah.
even entered the industry.
Yeah.
I remember my dad working for the same company for 45 years, and he was very loyal. So I think we need to think about what makes people loyal and then do those things to keep them there,
It's just
right?
so easy.
It is. It is. I
Yeah.
mean, it's all very simple, although it seems
It's
to
just
be
a little bit
hard,
of,
right?
yeah.
It's hard because we have to learn people,
Or you
and
have to look into it,
you
ask
have to ask
questions and be
questions.
curious and
Yeah.
yeah. And then our lives are busy, right?
Yeah.
Construction is busy.
Yeah. I think everybody's busy now. The
Everybody's
further we
busy.
get into IT, it's like everybody's moving at a faster pace.
Yeah.
AI, IT, tech, all the things. Like you buy a computer and it's already lost it. It's not new anymore after the day you buy it, right?
I know a lot about that. Yeah.
So let's talk about the next one. Increase the number of women in field leadership positions. We're seeing that a lot. I've seen that a lot in the last 12 months, especially in commercial construction. Encourage women to apply for leadership roles. Have existing female field leaders mentor early career craftswomen. I love that. The notes around that is 57% of the women from our survey indicated never having a female supervisor, and 64% indicated they wanted to be in a leadership position at some point in their career. Those are big numbers.
Yeah, they are.
Next is be intentional and consistent in identifying the qualities your company wants in field leaders. That's so important. What are your expectations? Consider men and women equally for all field leadership roles. Agreed. Women in our study shared promote because positions are earned, not as a token. Love that, because the men who feel like women are getting positions that are in a token that's not helping the field work. It's not helping the culture. So I love that women feel that way. I feel the same way. I want to be promoted because I've earned it, not because I am something or another. Develop and implement a plan to identify women in the field early in their careers for potential leadership positions. Love that too. I think that we need to do that with all men and women, especially now that we're missing that middle management group of people. That seems to be the biggest challenge for people to fill right now in our industry, is that middle management section.
Yeah. Well, and as we have even other levels, it's going to get more complicated with the whole IT getting into our, construction. But the one thing I wanted to mention is whenever I'm doing anything or researching a company, whether it be for an award and specific to like say diversity or anything like that, I go to their website. I look at their social pages. I see who their leadership is. That means a lot to me sometimes. I mean, who I see on
And
that
what are they
leadership
doing?
page.
Right? And what are they
Yeah.
doing? What are their focuses? Yeah. And how are they focused on their employees and their community?
Yeah. And I mean, I look at that, but I know that we've heard a lot of women, they want to move up. And I suspect if they don't move up, then probably, I would love to know this number too. I wonder how many, if they didn't have that opportunity, how many went out and did their own thing. Because that's how a lot of
That's a lot of it. Yeah.
entrepreneurs get started. Is if
Yeah.
there's a ceiling and they keep hitting it and they want to do something, then they might go out and do it on their own. And if they're really good, you don't want to lose them.
Right. Right.
It's there's always a stat out there to how much it costs to replace that person versus losing them. And really, I I used to know what that was even in our own business, but
I think I saw a report not long ago. It was like $30,000 a person.
and
Like
it
by the
probably
time you
depends
bring
on the
them in,
job too.
how long they stay, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Bringing them in, training them, going through. I mean, for us as a company, I think I don't
Huh.
know. I feel like that number was high, but that's a lot of money. I mean, either way, let's say it's 10,000. Just think about all the people that come and go if it cost you $10,000 a person in a big company. And
Yeah.
that was a big company report. That wasn't a small company. So, you pay to train them, you pay to get them to the place for training, you keep them overnight, you spend valuable
Mm.
time in the organization getting them up to speed on the culture. It's a lot of money if you start adding all the things.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. Um, and the next, I guess the final one that we want to talk about today, and you briefly mentioned it, is improved job site experience. And so I'll just read through some of these bullet points. Provide safety equipment that is designed specifically for women, not just a men's extra small. I'm just gonna say all of these, even though I have my own. Yeah. Comments. Under OSHA 1926, employers are required to provide proper fitting PPE. There are numerous companies specializing in PPE for women that a company can work with. And there's loads of them out there. They make vests, boots, all kinds of things. And even if they're limited, they want you to buy from them so they can expand their line for women.
Right.
A list of these companies should be provided to the women so that they can purchase boots and other workwear that they feel comfortable and safe at work in. Yes. I've even seen some men not in, proper fitting stuff.
Right.
So
Right.
make sure that's for
Good point.
everybody. Recognize there are different personal hygiene needs for women. When hiring, this was one I had never heard about before, but when hiring a sanitation service provider, inquire if facilities and services are available to accommodate women's hygiene needs. Stock the women's restrooms facilities with personal products or suitable means of disposal. Consider including this as part of the contract with the janitorial service company, which makes total sense,
It
right?
totally does. But
Yep.
I never thought about it.
I had neither. Nope. Then I read it. I was like, yes, that needs to happen. And then a next bullet point is encourage conversations to foster communication and relationship building between and among office and field team members. Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. And underneath that, it says provide opportunities for female frontline supervisors and trade women to share concerns and support each other. That's so important. And other companies are doing this, other construction companies
Mm-hmm.
and engineering firms. We see it
Yes.
day in day. Develop a plan for listening sessions and information sharing between all female employees that is supported and facilitated by company leadership at least quarterly.
Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
amazing.
at least doing it would be awesome, right? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, and we're
and
seeing a lot more of that, right? Employee resource groups
yes.
are big in larger companies,
Mm-hmm.
and we're starting to see some of the smaller companies kind of take
Yeah,
the
we're
baton
actually
and do it as
talking.
well.
We're
Yeah,
speaking to a couple of them this year.
yeah,
One
yes.
in November and one in, is it October?
October.
Yeah, and two
Yeah.
big, fairly big companies, and they have their own women's group, and even some of
Mm-hmm.
them are going to have men there, which
Right.
we think is super cool.
It is very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just giving them the resources that they need to grow, right? Sometimes they just need a little cheerleading session. Sometimes they want to hear from people who've been through it. Sometimes they want to hear how to get to the next step. Just let that conversation happen, right? Find out what the needs are, what they want, what their questions are. I think that's so important.
Yeah. Listening is a powerful tool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, once
To
again,
felt
NCC.
heard, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. yeah, being heard just makes you feel human, right? Instead of like a number. I
Yeah.
think that has a lot to do with it. But once again, NCCER did a great job pulling this data together and
Yep.
providing a report. And when we put this on social media, we'll also add it to the YouTube page where you can go to get this resource if you want to print it, put it in your offices, decide you want to check off all these boxes yourself and do the things that are going to make it better. I think we're going to make the construction industry a much better place, not just for women, but for everyone.
We are together,
yes,
right?
we are
all of
better
us.
together.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you all again for listening. And if you have comments, suggestions, we'd love to hear what you think about this report. Please let us know in a review or on our YouTube or on social media. We would love to hear your thoughts on some of these items because we aren't in the field anymore. We would love to know, what it is that you think about this report and whether or not you've got something you'd like to add. Have the best day.